You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Dirty Dan, who says, please rant about Bethesda Softworks. Have you played any of the Elder Scrolls games or Fallouts 3 through 76 or New Vegas, even though it was technically only published by them but made by Obsidian, now makers of the Outer Worlds? Also, comment on their recent well-documented shenanigans and free fall from goodwill and grace. You know, it's funny. There was a video I saw on YouTube recently that was like how how they damaged their reputation horribly. How like they were one of the most beloved studios, and now everybody hates them. And it was really bizarre because I had looked at them as a studio that I've seen criticized from the fucking get go because of the fact that they took so many of these classic franchises and twisted them into something they weren't. A lot of people who love Fallout 1 and 2 hate Fallout 3 already, before even moving on to 4 or 76. And then you've got people who loved the first few Elder Scrolls games who think that they diminished over time. I mean, the opinion that Morrowind is the best one is fairly popular. And it's not to say that Oblivion and Skyrim aren't loved for their own reasons. And it's not as though tons of people will go back to Arena or Daggerfall. But, there's definitely this, softening of the series as it goes forward and is made to appeal to broader and broader audiences, that you have to worry will continue. And, then, of course, you've got this whole Fallout 76 fiasco, which just has, it's damaged them in a more normal way, I guess, where people who aren't fanatics of classic franchises or who don't just think the games are boring or shitty, have other reasons to be mad. But, for me personally, the games that they make are not the kind of thing that I want to play. Just straight up, I really care about, the game feel. Kinesthetics. I really care about the feeling of movement in games, especially action RPGs. And Skyrim is an action RPG. You have to actually go up to enemies, press the attack button, and attack them, And when I played Morrowind, I I got Morrowind for the Xbox because it was only $10 or something, and I'd heard great things about it, I literally started playing. The text was super tiny and hard to read, and I was wanted to get into the game and figure out what was going on. I left town and went to go stab at some crab, just the first crab I saw, and I'm hitting it with my spear, and it keeps saying miss, 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 and I'm just I can't hit it. What the fuck? What do you mean miss? I'm hitting it with the spear. I can't take that. I could not take that. That was the combat in that game, and I never played it again beyond that point. I've never played Oblivion, but I did play a bit of Skyrim. I keep wanting to call it Skyfall. Skyrim, most of the people I know played through it because it was just such a big deal when it came out. And I had friends who played through Oblivion, of course, so, I'm familiar with these games. I know what they look like, what they play like. Oblivion always looked like an ugly fucking nightmare to me. The way the NPCs look, that dead-eyed stare, was haunting, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And the combat looked super boring. And then you get to Skyrim, and, the main attraction to me about the game was that I had seen that there was all these mods for it. So I was maybe I'll play Skyrim with some mods. Maybe that'll make it fun. So I started it up. I hated the whole opening section, the whole scripted sequence, everything. I hate scripted scenes in games. I hate long intros. I just want to be playing the game the normal way that it's going to be played as soon as possible so I can get a sense of what the game is really like, I don't want to spend the first hour doing something completely different and being is this game good or not? Should I keep investing my time? I don't want to spend all this way to get there. But, so anyway, once the game really began in earnest and I, went through the first little small town and then went to Winterfell, I talked to everybody in the town for an hour and a half, learned all their interconnected little stories, and saw them going about their daily lives. And I was this is a neat little fantasy town. I love exploring RPG towns, and I felt it was decently sized. I really hate overly small towns in RPGs. The first town in the game, that's only like 2 buildings. It's like, well, why would there be? I mean, it doesn't seem impossible. It is close to the town. I guess that's reason enough for just a couple of people to live here, you know, but at least this place was like a decently sized little town that had, you know, interwoven stories between its NPCs. But as soon as I left the town, I had no idea where to go. And I just like wandered into the first little like, you know, cave full of bad guys I saw. Walked in, killed everybody, took all the loot, and I was like, this is fucking boring. And I quit playing there. So that's as much as I played. Like I just that kind of combat and just having to loot everything. I don't want to pick up every fucking little thing. I don't want to like, you know, I don't want to have to like sort through menus of tons of little resources I've picked up. I don't want the combat to just be like swinging a fist back, you know, just hack one at a time. Um, you know, the Fallout games, I appreciate, like, Mr. B-Tongue's whole video about the shandification of Fallout is one of my favorite videos, and, like, he sells why the world of New Vegas sounds like an interesting place. I'm sure that the world building of it is cool, but, like, the aesthetic of those games does not resonate with me at all. The combat system does not look fun to me. So, again, like, just these games are ones that I look at and I think, it's not really my thing, you know. The closest thing to this that I am interested in is stuff like Mass Effect, where there's at least some like satisfying combat mechanics, especially in like the second or third game. You know, you can. It's actually somewhat fun as a cover shooter game. I know not everybody even likes that genre and probably would think just that those games were just as boring as the Bethesda games, but like to me, there's enough fun to be had in the combat of, you know, a Mass Effect to justify. And I mean, the story is also, I don't have to wander a huge open world either, which I'm not a fan of because I just don't fucking care, you know. Like at least in like Breath of the Wild or something, the traversal mechanics in and of themselves are interesting. Like the way that you navigate the world trying to find shrines is like inherently grabbing, and the world is extremely well designed around that. In Skyrim, it's just like you walk long distances between places. I don't care. I do not want to spend, you know, 60 hours immersing myself in this very boring world with goofy looking animations and shitty mechanics and unmemorable NPC characters, you know? So, yeah, that's my take, I guess.